The Weight of Clouds by Lullaby Libraries. Elara started her days with a heavy sigh. The coffee was never quite hot enough, the morning air was too damp, and the commute was a personal affront. It began as small, sharp observations, but soon every word she uttered was a jagged pebble of dissatisfaction thrown into the world. She didn't realize that each complaint was a brick she was using to build a wall around her heart. Her friend Silas tried to share the simple joys that punctuated his life, a captivating new novel, the first crocus of spring, or the perfect melody of a street performer, but Elara always found the flaw. "The book is derivative," she would snap, or "those flowers will just freeze by Tuesday." Slowly, the spark in Silas's eyes began to dim whenever he was near her, his warmth retreating from her constant winter. As Silas and the others drifted away, Elara found herself sought out by the gray echoes, people who spoke her language of lament. They gathered in dim corners, feeding on each other's grievances like a fire consumes dry wood. They called it venting, but the air between them grew thick and toxic. They didn't want solutions, they only wanted witnesses to their misery. In the glass-walled halls of her office, Elara became the anchor that kept the team from moving. When a new project was proposed, she didn't look for a path forward, she only pointed out the height of the obstacles. She fostered a culture of why we can't instead of how we might. Soon, her colleagues stopped inviting her to brainstorm, seeing her presence as a dead end for every creative spark. The silence eventually became deafening. The digital pings of social invitations grew quiet, and her phone sat like a cold stone on her nightstand. While her former friends gathered for birthdays and milestones, Elara sat in the stillness she had cultivated. She had complained her way into an island of her own making, where the only company was the echoing sound of her own voice. Inside her body, a storm was brewing. Constant complaining kept her brain in a state of high alert, as if a predator were always lurking just out of sight. Her heart raced at minor inconveniences, and her sleep was haunted by a restless, buzzing anxiety. The world felt dangerous and gray, and a heavy fog of depression began to settle over her soul, making even the simplest task feel like wading through deep water. The turning point came when Elara saw Silas across a crowded square. He was laughing, his face tilted toward the sun, surrounded by people who looked light. Elara caught her own reflection in a shop window and barely recognized the person staring back. She saw a woman weighed down by invisible stones, a person who had forgotten how to look for the light because she was too busy cataloging the shadows. Desperate for air, Elara decided to try a new language. She bought a small, linen-bound journal and made a pact with herself. Each night, before sleep could claim her, she performed a quiet archaeology of her day, unearthing 3 shards of beauty buried beneath the rubble of her complaints. At first, it was difficult. "The tea was warm," she wrote. "The blanket is soft. I saw a bird." It felt clumsy and forced, like learning to walk after a long injury. But she persisted, training her eyes to become magnets for grace rather than hooks for grievances. The shift in her internal world began to leak into her external one. At work, when a deadline loomed, she didn't join the chorus of groans. Instead, she looked at her colleague Liam and asked, "What's the first step we can take together?" The atmosphere changed instantly. By choosing proactive problem-solving over helpless venting, she felt a sense of agency she hadn't known in years. Her mind finally grew quiet, the frantic humming of high alert replaced by a steady, calm presence. She reached out to Silas, not to pour out her troubles, but to hear about his life. In the Garden of Gratitude, the world hadn't actually changed. The coffee was still sometimes cold, and the rain still fell, But Elara had changed. She no longer carried the weight of the clouds. She had learned to appreciate the rain.